Hey there, my name is Rohit Kumar, and today we are going to discuss another very important technology of today's technological world, and that is cloud computing. So, as you can see, the multiple figures are here, and each of the figures is telling some of the basic key applications or the characteristics or the architectural concepts of cloud computing. And in this way, you can understand that what sort of different features and the applications are associated with cloud computing. Now, coming to the different sorts of things means what are the different sorts of research domains, what are the key related areas that you can explore into to have a better insight of the related research topics. Additionally, what are the some related universities, journals, etc. So we start one by one. So coming to the today's focus, firstly, let me define you this term cloud computing. So cloud computing is a kind of on-demand availability of computational resources, kind of, for example, data storage or the computing power, etc. Okay, and the term cloud comes into the picture because everything is kind of virtualized, means that they are not available at your side, and you are supposed to access the services from some unknown location, and it is in conceptually means the term comes cloud means it is coming from the space, it is coming from our cloud. So that's why you are getting that you are having some sort of service, but the end user doesn't know where it is coming from, and he is not bothered about, means he is not supposed to know that where it is coming from, because if you are supposed to bother the user about every sort of detail, then it will be really cumbersome for him. Now coming to the sort of details, that what are the different sorts of research focuses or the kind of related topics or the domains. So coming to the mobile domain means mobile cloud computing. If we combine these two terms, the mobile computing and the cloud computing, then comes the formation that is mobile cloud computing. So mobile cloud computing is a powerful domain, and the concept is just only that if you are using the concept of cloud computing on the mobile devices or the kind of some mobile applications, and if you are having sort of cloud computing that is able to support the kind of services that it is offering to its user in a mobile environment, then obviously that scenario is called mobile cloud computing. Now, when we discuss the cloud computing, so as I told you that storage computing, etc., so many things are delivered in the form of services. So concept of cloud storage comes into picture because mainly cloud computing is used for storage purposes. People don't want to have store their data at their bedside, or they don't have the kind of sufficient hardware at their side, especially in terms of IoT devices, as we were discussing in the lecture, means the discussion of a research topic, that is IoT. So we were discussing the concept that very low power or the resource constrained devices become part of IoT networks. So those low power resource constrained devices don't have sufficient amount of memory or the computational power at their and that's why they use the concept of cloud computing to perform some sort of computation or to have storage. Like if we take the example of Arduino boards, or if we talk about the Raspberry Pi, then obviously these sort of systems are very much resource constrained, and for heavy applications like deep learning, etc., you can never go for that. So why not to use the cloud computing? So that's why cloud computing comes as a boon to this sort of environment. Additionally, before cloud computing, it was really tedious because you need to maintain every sort of network applications requirement, then the user side requirements, and every sort of technical requirement at your own side, means at the client side you need to manage the whole network, etc. Now after the introduction of cloud computing, it has become quite very easy, means quite pleasing experience, that you are supposed to just order your requirement, and then the cloud computing is going to deliver that requirement in the form of a service, and that's where the term came XaaS, means anything as a service. And you can almost order or almost demand anything in the form of service, and that thing will get delivered at your network side without having any sort of hassle or anything. Just you need to pay for that particular service. So in this form, it becomes a kind of metered service, like you pay rent for your house, you pay rent, kind of bill for your electricity, water supply, etc. Similar way, you are now paying the bill against your cloud computing resource consumption. Means if you are using storage for 1 month, if you are using the computational facility with respect to some predefined configuration for a particular period of time, then you are supposed to pay a particular predefined sort of rent for that. So in this way, we can define that cloud computing has made the lives of different sort of companies as well as the technological enthusiasts and researchers very easy, because now you can even have your own company virtually. You don't have any physical sort of infrastructure at your side. You just need to maintain the sort of services and use the online cloud services, pay the rent for those services, and just engage with your users. So moving forward in discussion to cloud computing, so the term of MQTT comes into picture, which becomes the backbone protocol of so many web applications. Additionally, the in-memory database applications and the considerations are considered when discussing the concept of cloud computing. Coming to the concept, as I am repeatedly discussing the concept of services. So as a service is a kind of model where everything is delivered in the form of service. So as a service become a quite interesting domain when we talk about cloud computing. Then the most debated and the most discussed and the most common myth is about virtualization. Means is cloud computing is equivalent to cloud computing equivalent to virtualization, and sort of if yes, then what are the things, if no, then what are the things, and again quite debated issue. But again, virtualization you can have at your network side also. So cloud computing does have a kind of uses of virtualization, but without cloud computing also you can have the uses of virtualization at your side. Okay, then the concept of encryption and security, because being the vertical aspect of security, you are supposed to see every sort of safety protocol at your side or the cloud side. And additionally, security becomes important because everything you are fetching from cloud, so your data privacy as well as the authenticity encryption sort of, means all security related issues become very very critical, and you need to give very serious consideration for all these sort of issues, because ultimately you are going to have data and you are going to upload data at a random site where you doesn't know where the data is going. So in this way, either the company must be very trustworthy and sort of, so that's why people before moving to cloud, they do have a doubt in their mind, is our data really safe or not? So that's why these sort of issues are there. Additionally, the service level agreement comes into picture, where the user is supposed to get some standard sort of services, and if the cloud provider is not able to provide them, then what are the different terms and conditions and sort of things you need to see. Then the concept of service oriented architecture comes into picture, as I told you, as a service concept. So similar thing, how you can enhance this architecture, how you can improvise, etc. So many possibilities are there. Additionally, some related tools like Kubernetes, etc. are there, and access control in terms of multi-tenancy, etc. you can discuss. And then the mobile solutions like smartphones, gadgets, etc. you can discuss. Then how variable your environment is, and how different types of accessories or the devices you do have, how you have a better access to cloud computing with respect to all the devices in your network, etc. Means so many different sorts of possibilities are there to explore the domain of cloud computing. Now coming to the sort of people's investment as well as the funding from different bodies. So many different bodies and the organizations are involved in active funding in cloud computing, because cloud computing is supposed to be one of the most powerful technology of 21st century. And in this way, the National Institute of Health, Engineering and Physical Science and Research Council, National Science Foundation, National Cancer Institute, Ministry of Science and Technology, National Institute of Aging, National Institute of Allergy and Infection Diseases, and National Human Genome Research Institute, National Heart, Lung and Blood Institute, then National Institute on Drug Abuse, etc. So many different sorts of, means medical, security, law, etc. So many firms are working and using the services of cloud computing. And almost, if I say it is not wrong, that almost every person and every industry is using the concept or the services of cloud computing in one or other way. Okay, so it is not wrong. Now coming to the publication, so continuously the discussions, research and the publication, because the domain is so relatable, and that's why so many services are being discussed, so many independent vendors have come into the picture. So that's why so many players are in this game, and that's why here comes the research domain and its related publications. So continuously citations and the related publications are on rise. There are some top-notch journals which are dedicatedly attached with cloud computing. And in this way, if you consider, then there are so many different sorts of journals that I can tell you. So some of them, means not all of them, but some of them are the IEEE transactions on cybernetics, IEEE transactions on circuits and systems, IEEE transactions on computer, IEEE Internet of Things journal, IEEE transactions on industrial applications, IEEE transaction on medical imaging, IEEE computations magazine, then IEEE transactions on automatic control, then IEEE transactions on aerospace and electric, sorry, it's a magazine, IEEE Aerospace and Electronic System magazine, etc. So I think you must have got an idea that so many IEEE journals are there. Additionally, some of the Elsevier and Springer journals are also there, and Wiley, Taylor, Francis, you can go for that, and there are so many different sorts of journals available there. Okay, now coming to the top publishers, so obviously as I told you that the IEEE, Elsevier, Springer, Wiley, Taylor and Francis, Ender Science, Emerald, MDPI, Oxford, IOP, Indavi, etc. So many different publishers are there, and accordingly you may find lots of journals related to cloud computing, because somewhere it is related to cloud computing. There are some dedicated journals with respect to cloud computing, as well as there are some general applications, as well as the miscellaneous journals available. Okay, so you can go have a check, means your research or your paper suits to what kind of scope of a particular journal, and then you can go for publication. Now coming to this one another issue, that how many open access or non-open access journals are there. So you can go and have a check that there are so many different kinds of open access journals like IEEE access, etc. And there are some hybrid mode journals also, and there are some non-open access also. So you can go and have a look accordingly. Now coming to the most important thing, that what is the current scenario, means how people are publishing or on what topics they are discussing research in latest. So in latest time, if we discuss, then let me tell you that with respect to early access paper, then one of the ACM computing service paper is accepted and for publication in terms of early access, and its title is Vehicular Edge Computing, Architectural Resonance, Resource Management, Security and Challenges. In this paper, they have discussed the concept of edge computing, and again the cloud computing is further extended in the form of fog computing and edge computing, and people do realize that these sort of computations we can have access at our side. So these sort of different means, if you want to differentiate between these notions of cloud computing, fog computing and edge computing, you can go and have a check. I have made videos about these things, and I have discussed in many of my videos related to this, so you can go and have a check. Additionally, in relation to this particular topic of cloud computing, the another ACM computing service is on the privacy preservation in fog enabled IoT. Okay, so you can see that with respect to the lower side cloud, means the fog, and with respect to the IoT network, means the resource constrained devices, they have discussed the concepts of privacy preservation. Then coming to that, there are so many different variables, as I already told, in cloud computing environment, means similar to fog environment. So the orchestration becomes important. So the orchestration for computing and the related comprehensive service provided in ACM computing service also. Additionally, coming to another work of computer communications, which is a popular elsewhere journal, there they have discussed the SaaS, means software as a service, parallel task scheduling based on cloud service flow load algorithm. So load becomes a typical issue in cloud computing environment, because there are so many users. Almost, as I told you, every person is using clouds in one way or other, and that's why load becomes a considerable situation. And that's why you are supposed to provide some sort of task scheduling algorithms or something like that, so that you could efficiently manage the situation. Okay, so they have discussed with respect to software as a service. Then privacy based classification system is provided for edge computing in IoT in computer communications. Additionally, with respect to expert systems with applications journal, a delay sensitive task offloading in multi-access cloud computing is discussed. Then the energy efficient computational offloading in mobile edge computing systems with uncertainties is discussed in 2022 in IEEE transactions on wireless communications. Then energy efficient analysis of e-commerce customer management system based on mobile edge computing is discussed in scientific programming, etc. So many different journals are there, and with respect to some latest technologies like blockchain, etc. So a blockchain technology as a fog computing security and privacy solution is also discussed in early access paper of cloud computer communications. Okay, so there are a lot more journals I can go on and debate and discuss so many things, but I think you have got a basic understanding and the notion that how much powerful the concept of cloud computing is, and it's a different variants like fog or edge, and that's why you should go and have a better look and means what sort of opportunities you do have and what you can do or contribute or at least gain from this particular domain. And before closing this particular video, I would like to ask about your suggestions in the form of comments. If you do think that we didn't cover anything that is important, please let me know. I'm not going in this particular series of research topic and domain. I don't discuss that topic in detail because I just need to give you the kind of research idea or the kind of research possibilities, what are the different people or the sort of the institutions are involved with respect to some specific research in a particular domain. And if you find that domain interesting, then obviously you should go for it and explore. With respect to detailed introduction, etc., I have made other videos also, you can go and explore. With respect to this particular video, if you didn't like anything, please do criticize and comment down below. Please let me know that how I can improve the videos further. Thanks for watching this again. Happy learning.